something that I think personally is so cool and very interesting. It is the Universal that I think personally is so cool and very interesting. It is the Universal Monsters theme, which is pretty much, you know, just the old school classic monsters, you know, like Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, all those people. If you've watched the videos already from this week, well, which you haven't, then you definitely should. But for my video, it's something I haven't seen for a while until I watched it a few days ago, and it is called The Invisible Man, which is, this movie came out in 1933, which is the oldest movie that I have reviewed here on Late Night Frights, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, let's just get straight into the plot of this movie. So, it is a scientist who pretty much becomes invisible. And then somehow, some way, in doing that, he becomes insane. He becomes insane and starts wreaking havoc all throughout the town or wherever he lives. I don't know. James Whale directed this movie. Yes, this movie is in black and white. Some people can't stand black and white films, but personally, they don't really bug me. You know, sometimes it can be weird, you know, being so used to watching movies in color, and then, you know, you watch a black and white film. Grandma has some repairman over, so I'm sorry if you hear any background noise, which is pretty likely. Try to ignore it, and I'll just talk over it. So, yeah. Yeah, this movie is in black and white, and it's James Whale is the director of the movie, and the movie, I think, is directed very well. He makes it seem very mysterious, and, you know, obviously being made in 1933, it's going to have a lot, not seeing any old movies, it's going to be very, you know, different from modern day films, obviously. So, this movie is a lot different than from what you would, you know, usually expect from watching a modern day film and not being familiar with older films like this, especially from 1933, I mean, that's crazy early. I mean, that's even before The Wizard of Oz came out, and that movie's super old, so. Also, I wanted to mention that this movie, it's kind of a movie that you're either gonna like or not like. It's not really an in-between because this movie is very straightforward. So, this movie I do like. Honestly, going into this movie, I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it turns out I really did. And, you know, I usually am not a huge fan of older films, like older films meaning like from 1960 and back, but, you know, it's not the case. You know, everyone's different. There's Claude Rains, Gloria Stewart, Heinz Romeland. One thing I gotta say, this movie did kind of it was very, like, creepy, and one thing I loved about this movie, it was full of suspense and, like, on the edge of your seat type of thing, and I really enjoyed, you know, while I was watching this movie. Ooh, something I forgot to mention, this movie was based off a novel. I haven't read the novel, so I can't really tell you anything about that, or the differences, or compare the two, but I just thought I'd mention that this movie was based off a novel, which is also kind of cool. Thinking that, you know, all movies now, or the majority of movies that come out in theaters are really based on novels, which I find very, very, you know, interesting. Fun fact, this movie was very successful in the box office. It was the most popular movie since Frankenstein, and, I don't know, like, I'm guessing whenever that came out, you know, this was the most successful horror film since Frankenstein, which is awesome. Named by the New York Times one of the best top 10 movies during 1933. One thing the author said about this movie, that even though it was a brilliant book, he didn't like how he turned this brilliant scientist into a lunatic. That's one thing the author, I guess, had to say about it. Because in the original novel, I guess, he was like a normal guy. He never turned into this, you know, crazy person. But obviously for a horror movie, you can't just be normal. You can't just be a normal, you know, it has to turn into a lunatic so it could go crazy, you know what I mean? Overall, I definitely recommend you guys to check this movie out. I I watched it online. That's where I watched the majority of my movies. Yes, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to check out everyone else's, videos. I think all the movies they reviewed, and, they were just awesome, because I have watched a good amount of, Universal monster movies in, throughout my life, I guess, and throughout my 15 years of living. I've watched a good amount of horror films, including, old classics like this, and The Invisible Man is definitely a film to check out. It's definitely, when you think of Universal, when you think about Universal monsters, you don't just think, oh, The Invisible Man. You, first of all, draw your attention towards, Dracula or, like, Frankenstein, but this one, I guess you can say, is kind of like an underdog, but I definitely give this one I think you all should give this one a try, because I think you should all give this one a watch. Maybe, I know it can be kind of hard, and if you don't like black and white films, then I don't think you're going to like this movie because it's in black and white, but just check it out, give it a chance. And yeah, that's all I have for today's video. Make sure to check out last week's videos. We did horror battles, and we will be doing horror battles again starting Monday. So yes, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I've said that about 4 times or 5. And yeah, I will see you guys. See you all. And I can't talk, so I'm really sorry. I get really tongue-tied, and yeah, I can't talk. So next Friday, goodbye.